You pour a glass of milk for your child, assuming it is pure, natural dairy. But under a microscope, that same white liquid might rapidly separate into traces of detergent, shampoo, palm oil, and urea fertilizer. Over a 6-month period, organized syndicates engineered and pumped more than 2.3 crore liters of this synthetic chemical cocktail into Maharashtra's commercial dairy market. The investigation traced the epicenter of this contamination network directly to Pune Taluka, a major dairy export hub located in the Dharamshiv district. Diluting milk with water is a common low-level offense. These syndicates went much further, operating industrial-scale laboratories designed to reverse engineer the exact physical profile of raw milk using highly toxic inputs. This calculated contamination of a foundational nutritional staple spread quietly across the entire state, requiring an aggressive and sweeping regulatory crackdown to finally dismantle. The syndicates built their supply chain on a massive logistical cover-up. They smuggled in over 230,000 kilograms of highly substandard skimmed milk powder by deliberately mislabeling the shipments as bulk cattle feed. But mixing milk powder and water creates a flat, thin liquid. To slip past inspectors, the adulterators had to perfectly mimic the density, natural fat content, and heavy frothing of genuine cow and buffalo milk. They achieved this using cheap household chemicals. Refined palm and vegetable oils were whisked in to emulate dairy fat, while industrial detergents and liquid shampoos were added to create a thick, convincing surface froth. The most deceptive addition was urea fertilizer, which artificially spiked nitrogen readings to trick laboratory protein sensors. Once chemically balanced, operators used a 10% blending ratio, infusing 10 liters of this chemical slurry into every 100 liters of pure milk. At this mathematical concentration, the adulterants diluted just enough to become invisible to the naked eye, while maintaining the specific gravity and fat metrics required to pass the formal collection center's baseline quality assessments. By weaponizing basic chemistry against the testing protocols, the syndicates effectively blinded standard safety checkpoints to millions of liters of toxic product. The network operated unchecked until May 25th, when IAS officer Tukaram Mundhe became Maharashtra's new FDA commissioner, immediately instituting a zero-tolerance enforcement policy. The data here tracks his response. Within weeks, Mundhe's teams executed around 360 unannounced establishment inspections across the state, seizing over 1.6 lakh liters of adulterated milk in a rapid succession of coordinated raids. The crackdowns systematically dismantled the entire logistics web, simultaneously striking production dairies, transport tankers, regional distributors, and urban wholesalers. The sweep reached the highest levels of the market. Even legacy institutions like Mumbai's iconic K. Rustam & Co. faced license suspensions over serious quality and hygiene violations discovered during the inspections. Law enforcement physically dismantled the adulteration infrastructure, impounding massive industrial milk tankers and processing machinery that had been secretly repurposed to churn out synthetic batches. Mundhe's aggressive enforcement strategy laid bare a massive regulatory failure, exposing how deeply and systematically the state's formal dairy network had been compromised from the top down. The economic impact of these raids was visible overnight. Daily milk procurement across Maharashtra plummeted by 7.5 lakh liters. Zooming out, that missing volume equaled 4% of the state's total daily output, a massive segment that evaporated once the FDA severed the synthetic lines. In response, the FDA issued sweeping new compliance mandates across the supply chain, requiring highly secure sealed packaging and issuing strict public health warnings urging consumers to thoroughly boil all purchased milk. While the seizures targeted massive industrial facilities, the true risk fell on the millions of citizens navigating crowded local markets, unknowingly bringing hazardous household chemicals into their homes and serving them to their families. The ultimate cost of this crisis is measured in the harsh reality that safeguarding public health across a massive, industrialized food network requires constant, aggressive, and entirely uncompromising vigilance.
Subscribe for more such reports.